think it's worth a look. It kinda seems familiar, like a story from a book. Shake a leg now, Wishbone, let's wag another tail. Sniffing out adventure with Wishbone on the trail. Come on, Wishbone, what's the story, Wishbone? What's the story, Wishbone? What's the story, Wishbone? What's the story, Wishbone?
Oh, no, you must have lost.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, Joe. Hi, David.
Hey, guys.
Hi. We just cleaned up on the court.
Oh, he's a basketball star, just like his dad.
Like father, like son.
We have tasted victory! And now we'd like to taste some of that coffee cake. Psst. Hey, Lee, how about a little victory treat?
He knows who the pushover is at this table. Can I feed him something?
Just say yes, Ellen.
He likes these.
Here you go, Wishbone.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not cake, but I'll take what I can get.
Joe, maybe you and David can help us out.
We're planning our annual Lee Natonabah event at the library.
My 5th year to tell a Native American story for the storytelling series.
Last year you told a Navajo coyote.
You were great. Really funny.
This year I want to try something different, but I don't know what yet.
Well, why don't you let me tell a story? Something in the canine tradition.
Too bad we have a whole giant kitchen.
This man is a genius.
What do you mean?
I mean, sitting around the kitchen table is the best place for telling stories.
Yes, absolutely. The best of all possible worlds.
That's how it was in my grandmother's kitchen. Everybody'd be sitting at the table, and pretty soon there'd be stories. Stories about things that had happened just a few hours ago, or stories that happened at the beginning of Navajo time. It all went together. I grew up with the stories and in the stories.
You didn't get all your Navajo stories from books, did you?
No, they were passed down generation to generation, person to person. As a child, I listened to learn the story, to remember the story, so that later on I'd be able to tell it myself, especially the old stories of my ancestors.
Do you ever get tired of those stories?
No, they tell me who I am. Each story is a path, a trail that leads to a good place every time I follow it. Of course, it's fun to hear the stories for the first time, too.
It's an adventure.
You follow the trail, but you don't know where it's going to lead or what you're going to find along the way. That reminds me of a story.
Oh, tell it.
You have your kitchen table.
This story comes from the Nantee Dakota, who lived in the woodlands of what is now called Minnesota. It's called The Story of the Deathless Voice. It's about a group of warriors who followed a trail on the lookout for the enemy.
I'll go on the trail.
Imagine this. In the very long ago, there was a certain group of Dakota warriors who left the circle of their tribal camp in order to help their people. They were in search of an enemy who was trying to push them out of their hunting area and take food from their families. They searched for many days and could not find the enemy, so they kept moving. Some had been in battle many times and had many stories to tell. Some had no stories of battle to tell yet. This would be their first time to fight. The warrior's greatest weapon is a fearless spirit. His path may lead to death. And now on this path, every sound, every movement could mean an ambush. Followed the trail without knowing what they would find next. Their story was in the making.
I hope I can be as brave as those who have gone before me.
Finally, with still no sign of the enemy, they had to stop to rest and to eat.
We will camp here. Take turns on the watch.
Oh, let me be in the watch party. I'm good at that.
You may take first watch. Remember, watch with your ears and your eyes.
I have a special talent for listening.
And so one young warrior set off to look and listen for the enemy.
I'm ready for anything. I'm totally calm. Nerves of steel. What was that?
And that's all I'll tell for now.
What? Wait a minute. I just heard a sound. It could be the enemy.
But I want to know what happens.
Yeah, you just got started.
You'll just have to wait it out with the war party. They don't know what's going to happen next either.
Well, okay, but you promised to finish the story sometime, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't just leave us hanging.
I promise. But now I have an idea for the performance.
What?
We're gonna turn the library into a gigantic kitchen.
I don't think I should be the only storyteller.
What do you mean?
I'll tell one of my grandmother's stories. But then I want some people from the audience to tell a story too. Something from their own families, their own experience.
That'll take guts.
Yeah. I think I'll need to recruit some volunteers.
You want stories? Oh, I got stories.
I'll do it.
You will? Well, Joe, that's great.
Now that reminds me of your dad. He never thought twice about helping out a friend.
What kind of story will you tell?
I think I'd like to tell a story about my dad.
Well, Joe, that's a lovely idea.
You knew my dad pretty well, didn't you, Mr. Natonabah?
He was a good friend. I think he'd be honored to have his son remember him with a story.
I know he would.
David, will you help out too?
Sure, I've got lots of family stories.
Great.
And what about the dog? Time for the dog's story?
Too bad Wishbone can't talk.
Oh, I talk, Lee. It's just that nobody listens.
You know, Wishbone, in a lot of the stories I know, it's the animals that do the talking. And human beings are not necessarily the wisest creatures on the earth.
Finally, stories that tell it like it is.
Oh, and that was after your dad's team won the state championship 3rd year in a row.
Wow.
You know, Joe, I'm really proud of you for doing this.
It's a good excuse to find out more about my dad.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember some things about him. I remember us going to the tire swing in the park. I kind of remember him carrying me around on his shoulders. But I don't remember that much.
Well, you were barely 6 when he died.
Am I anything like him?
Actually, you're a lot.
Will I win the state championship 3 times in a row someday?
I wouldn't be surprised if you did.
Neither would I, Ellen.
Hey, when your dad was just a freshman in college, he kept up a 4.0. And he started on the varsity team.
Yeah,
I guess he was pretty good in math.
that's one way I'll never be like him.
Hey, look. Your dad won an award for a senior essay.
An experiment to measure the modulus of elasticity of polyvinyl compounds is applied to spheroid rebound trajectories. I don't even understand the title.
Well, to tell you the truth, I think it has something to do with the physics of basketball.
Oh, right.
And here he is stuffing himself with pizza. My kind of guy.
Oh, I'll get it.